Inductive versus deductive approaches in teaching English grammar. Teaching English grammar effectively requires understanding the different approaches available to educators. Among the most widely recognized methods are inductive and deductive teaching. Each approach has its own unique features, steps, advantages, and disadvantages. In this video, we will explore these two methods, highlighting their distinctions and providing practical examples for teachers. Inductive approach. In an inductive approach, students are introduced to examples first and discover the grammar rules through observation and pattern recognition. This is more exploratory and encourages students to understand the rules from context. For example, show students sentences using the present perfect tense. She has eaten, they have gone, and ask them to deduce the pattern for forming this tense. Deductive approach. In a deductive approach, the teacher presents the grammar rule first, followed by examples to illustrate the rule in action. This is more straightforward and provides students with a clear framework from the beginning. For example, explain the structure and use of the past simple tense, subject plus verb and ed, and then have students practice forming sentences using this tense. Both methods can be effective. It depends on student level, learning style, and the complexity of the grammar topic. Inductive grammar teaching. It's discovery learning. Students learn grammar rules through observation and analysis of examples rather than direct instruction. Contextualized learning. Language structures are presented within meaningful contexts, allowing students to see how grammar functions in real communication. Student-centered approach. Learners take an active role in discovering rules, promoting engagement, and critical thinking. The steps. Present examples. Introduce students to sentences or texts containing the grammatical structure to be learned. For example, using past tense verbs in a short story. Guided discovery. Facilitate small group discussions where students analyze the examples and identify patterns or rules. Formulate rules. Guide students to articulate the grammatical rules they have discovered based on their analysis. Practice and application. Provide exercises or activities that allow students to practice the newly learned structure in various contexts. Reflection and feedback. Encourage students to reflect on their learning and provide feedback to clarify any misconceptions. Advantages of the inductive approach. It promotes deeper understanding. Students often retain information better when they discover rules independently. It encourages critical thinking. The inductive approach fosters analytical skills as students evaluate language structures. It engages learners. The interactive nature of this method makes learning more enjoyable and relevant. The disadvantages of the inductive approach. It may be time-consuming. Inductive learning can require more class time compared to direct instruction. Varied learner responses. Not all students may feel comfortable with this method. Some prefer explicit instruction. Teacher preparation. Teachers must carefully select examples and plan guided discovery activities to ensure effectiveness. Here is a practical example. Teaching the present perfect tense. Present students with sentences like, I have eaten lunch, she has finished her homework, and they have visited Paris. In small groups, ask students to identify what these sentences have in common. Guide them to deduce that the present perfect tense indicates actions completed at some indefinite time in the past. Provide practice sentences for students to convert to the present perfect tense. Deductive grammar teaching. Explicit instruction. The teacher provides clear explanations of grammar rules before students engage with the material. Rule focused. The focus is on understanding and applying grammatical rules rather than discovering them through exploration. Structured learning. Lessons are often linear, moving logically from rule explanation to practice. The steps to the deductive method. Presentation of rules. Introduce the grammatical rule or concept clearly. by explaining, for example, the future tense. Examples. Provide examples that illustrate the rule in context. I will go to the store versus I'm going to the store. Practice activities. Engage students in exercises that require them to apply the rule. For example, filling in the blanks with the correct future tense form. Feedback and correction. Offer immediate feedback on students' performance and correct any misunderstandings. Review and reinforcement. Summarize the rule and provide further practice through quizzes or writing prompts. Advantages of the deductive method. Clarity and structure. It provides students with a clear understanding of rules and expectations from the start. Efficiency. It can be quicker than the inductive approach, allowing students to grasp concepts and apply them in a shorter time frame. Suitable for certain learners. Some students may find explicit rules easier to understand, especially those who prefer structured environments. The disadvantages. It limits exploration. Students may not engage in deeper thinking or exploration of language. Potential for passive learning. This method can lead to passive recipients of information rather than active participants. Overemphasis on rules. Focusing too much on rules can result in the rigidity in language use, making it difficult for students to adapt their skills in diverse contexts. A practical example. Teaching the future tense. Start by explaining the structure and usage of will and going to for future actions. Provide examples. I will call you tomorrow. She is going to study abroad next year. Engage the students in practice exercise where they convert sentences into the future tense, like I go to the park into I will go to the park. Also explain exactly when they will use the grammar. Provide feedback and correct any errors, clarifying the differences between will and going to as necessary. Both inductive and deductive approaches have their strengths and weaknesses when teaching English grammar. Inductive teaching promotes discovery and engagement, fostering critical thinking and deeper understanding, while deductive teaching provides clarity and efficiency through explicit instruction. The best choice often depends on the learner's needs, preferences, and contexts. Educators might find a balanced approach incorporating elements from both methods can lead to a more effective grammar instruction and a more enriched learning experience for students. Both methods can be effective. It depends on student level, learning style, and the complexity of the grammar topic.